hospice doesn't mean quit, curl up in bed and die. It means we're going to change the focus of life now. We're going to focus on making things as good as possible for as long as possible. And I think what's most interesting, relatively new data, this is information that's just been out in the past year or two, several good studies now that show that patients who are in hospice sooner live longer than other patients with the same diagnosis who don't get into hospice as early. And so I think getting people into hospice, when they're done with attempted aggressive therapies, that's the time to enter the program.
Do the chemo, and that was his choice, but shortly thereafter recognized that he really wanted quality of life versus quantity of life. And so at that point we were introduced to hospice, which is one of those things that you think that you'll never be the one to utilize that. It's always somebody else.
The medical director's role as kind of filling in any gaps that are there. Some patients that really isn't doing a whole heck of a lot. Other patients it might be taking over complete care of the case and working with the team, making sure that we're all together. We all have a common goal with what's going on, whether it's a volunteer or the nurses or a social worker, pharmacist, whatever, the nursing aides. We're all one big team, and the important thing is that we're all pulling in the same direction for the patients.
It has been and continues to be a privilege for me to be able to lead one of the most amazing bands of volunteers in this country as far as I am concerned. And I will assure you that people who have the misconception that hospice is all about doom and gloom and sadness and death and dying, there's an awful lot of laughter that goes on. There's an awful lot of joking that goes along with the hospice experience, because there is a lot of living that goes on with the hospice experience. And until such time as somebody draws that final breath, they are living.
Place at the lake that he loves, and we were scheduled to go up there, and he said, "Dora, I don't think I can do it. I think we'll have to make day trips." And I said, "That's okay. If that's what works for you, we'll make day trips." With the godsend of hospice, we went up to the lake, and we were there for 8 days before Dawn had to say goodbye. And it was huge. Hospice was there with everything. If we thought it, we'd turn around, and there it was. From the hospital bed to the necessary medications to the oxygen up at the lake, which is in a remote place where there's not cell service really, but they were there. And with that comfort, Don was at the lake for 8 days with his family and friends, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Don and I have been married 36 years, and that week at the lake with family and friends, he was the husband, that he was the man that I married.
I was very impressed with Helen when she became the president CEO of Bangor Area Visiting Nurses and Hospice of Eastern Maine, and decided that she needed to know what I did. And so she enrolled in the summer 2000 training course to find out exactly what I was doing with volunteers. And she said after the end of that training course, "Now I know what you do. I've hired the right person. Just do it. I will not be volunteering because I don't have enough love in my heart." And again, not so.
Hospice merged with Bavin in 1999, And that came about very, very smoothly, and it was such a logical thing to do. As I said before, symptom management and just communication and dealing with families. I think with hospice, it's more prevalent that we think about the entire unit more, because we're with hospice patients sometimes a long time, and quite often longer than when we're with home care patients. So we develop those relationships with family and friends and neighbors and loved ones. And then that is a nice impact back again on home care, because the staff can be more alert to looking for those kinds of things with home care and dealing with them, and it strengthens the home care program.
I've had the good fortune to be a leader of a home care and hospice entity for a long time, and I've known of Helen Genco and her work. Helen's reputation has always just been, quite frankly, stellar. She ran an organization for years that people just really held in high regard. Helen was a go-to person for how do you get it done, how do you do it well, and most importantly, how do you really maintain organizational integrity. And Helen was a visionary, looked to incorporate pathfinders with Hospice of Eastern Maine, and the organization today is thriving because of the work of Helen Genco. So I'm so proud to know Helen.
I had the delightful experience of including some of your narrative in the nursing history of Maine, and I was particularly enjoyed how you convinced one of your future bosses in 1975 with your interview for a position at the School of Nursing. When you sat in front of your future boss and you were interviewed, this lady, who was apparently very stern, was about to tell you that there were certain rules in the School of Nursing that everyone had to aspire to. And one of the biggest rules was that no one was to wear pants. And here you were in your interview proudly wearing your pants. And you know what? She hired you. And I don't blame her, because she saw in you the leadership qualities that we've all come to admire in your compassion and in your expertise for promoting quality nursing care. I'm so proud to know you, Helen, and congratulations on this wonderful and well-deserved honor, and I'm so glad. Thank you for being a part of Maine's nursing history.
You know, the proceeds from this auction and other fundraisers that we do for our hospice families is so important. For example, we've had a hospice patient who wanted to get married before they passed, and we were able to help them purchase a wedding ring. We've had families that don't have warm blankets. We have some families that don't have a nice nightgown. So the proceeds that we raise from these auctions help us with those little incidentals, and they also help us with securing sometimes larger items that can help someone's comfort at home. So my great appreciation to all of you for your generosity this evening.